Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello. See, that's why I like to check stuff. Hello, everyone. So we are here. We are live. This is Ryan Benjamin. We're here. You guys here for my live stream. Have a special guest, David Finch. Say
Hello,
hello, Dave.
everybody. Sorry. Hi, everybody.
All right, so this is gonna be cool because we're gonna do some pretty cool art. Um, uh, we're just gonna draw and just have fun tonight. So we actually launched a poll, and I'm waiting to see what people said so far. So I'm waiting. We're gonna do a tally on the poll right now. I'm gonna see who's gonna win. So all right. So in the chat with us or in the stream with us, we also have Christian Nee,
Hello.
who's here. So he's going to be here, just moderating and checking out stuff and just reading.
How's it going?
And chatting with you guys also. Um, but yeah, so tonight we're gonna throw down. We're gonna give you guys some pencils. So I'm gonna do a quick tally on this right now. Okay, I'm gonna stop. No more voting after this. This is it. So let's just see who's gonna win. Okay. So.
What were the options again? Because I don't see them on the screen.
So the options were Blade versus Vampire Hunter D,
Yep.
Bizarro Superman versus Miles Morales, or Moon Knight versus Deadpool. So let's see who got what. Okay, I don't see any C's so far, so I think a lot of people either.
Well, I see one. I see Trenton with a C, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Wow. This seems like A is like kicking B's butt so far. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, no. Okay. Take that back.
I think no matter what we do, I'm going to end up having to get a little bit of reference.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking the same thing. Okay. Wow. Okay. It looks like people want B.
And that's the Vampire Hunter D with Blade. Is that right?
Hold on. No, I think it's the other one. Hold on. Oh, I see a couple C's. Okay, it looks like so far it looks like B. Someone said W. Okay. All right. So it looks like we are going to be doing. Yep. Bizarro Superman versus Miles Morales.
All right.
Yeah. I wish I had my audio track for for cheering and everything on this. So. Yeah. So we got a little crowd. So.
I've got I wonder if mine will work. I'm going to hit it just to see if it'll work.
What was that? Oh, your cheers.
Yeah, see if it works. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. Darn it.
Did it work?
Cheers. I have applause.
You have applause.
Did it work?
Yeah, there it is. Yay!
All right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Okay, so Superman. So I think you wanted to do. Which one did you want to do again? Superman versus Superman. Bizarro versus Miles Morales. You wanted to do Miles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only ever drawn him one time. So Bizarro, I've actually drawn because I did a story for DC with a bunch of them. So Miles Morales is fun.
Yeah.
Finding some reference here.
Uh-huh.
You can find it with me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Superman Bizarro
costume.
It's not hard.
Okay, I think.
It's-
All right, I'm gonna go with that one. Okay.
Oh yeah. All right. So this is my chance to draw Superman because last time you did Superman. This is, but I'm doing the Bizarro version, so it's pretty cool. Oh, I like to warn people about my sharpener. Sharpener.
Ooh, yeah. It's going to the dentist.
That's my sharpener. All right. So, all right, let's get moving. So tonight I am doing. I'm actually working on this. It's a really cool board that I have. It's watercolor board, but I like the texture. It has like that rough uh, texture to it. It's pretty cool. I kind of like that one. So it makes it easier for me. It gives me some really cool effects. So in the past, what I used to do was just kind of play music in the background and just kind of have it like kind of subtle, just zoning out, because this is like my little room over here. But here we go. All right, so Bizarro Superman.
And neither of us have a layout too, which I'm used to. When I started stream, I've kind of already worked out my layout, so it's a little
Yeah,
less of this kind of going back and forth, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So
yeah. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna go with like a zombie, a crooked zombie Superman, almost like he's powerful, but how would you?
that's what I get for starting with a head.
I don't know.
Let's see. Try again.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
You know what?
There we go. I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh yeah, you guys can see this. Pretty good. All right. So yeah. Anything interesting happened to you this week?
Uh, well, you know what? Christmas is finally done.
Oh, I know. I couldn't wait to be done with Christmas this year. I was like,
So nice. Yeah, and it's so nice to see all the family and see it. We had our last uh, kind of get together 2 nights ago, I guess. I think it was 2 nights ago, and yeah, it's great. But wow, it's so nice to just be able to kind of sit and relax just a little
I
bit.
know, I know. So because sometimes like during the holidays, you're like, oh, this is my chance to just get away for a week or two, and no one bugs me. And then nope, here
Yeah,
comes all the parties you have to go to, and all of this and that. And you're like, okay,
yeah, you can't avoid it.
can't avoid it.
And it's nice to have family, so you got to put up with them.
I know. All right, I'm ready to jump into this. This is my little tiny little eraser. Where did I get this one from? It's written in Japanese. So
Well, yeah, whenever you want questions.
yeah, just I already know this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
So
Yours is easy. I'm already.
it's just Superman. It's just Superman. With S backwards and a crazy hairstyle.
I think I know what I want to do for my pose anyway. I think I got it. Now I just need to make sure my shoulder actually. There we go. Way too long. Dang it. This is why I always lay out things beforehand.
Yeah, I know. It's for me. It's like it's somewhat of a challenge sometimes. I think the worst part or the roughest part for me when I'm drawing is making that noise.
Might have been my paper. I just shifted it.
I don't know.
Oh, I got it. I
music
see it.
playing.
I see it. Wow. Okay.
Can't draw hands upside down sometimes. All right.
Okay, so like I was saying, the roughest part for me sometimes is the layout,
Yep.
because that's while you're thinking. You're thinking so much. You're like, okay, what am I going to draw? What's going to happen here? And then
And
once you actually have it, it's like you just go.
well, there's so much quality, or you can fail in the drawing for sure,
Yeah,
but most of it is the layout. Like that initial sketch, if it works, you're good, and if it doesn't work, you can't ever recover from that. So
yeah, I know. So the way how I go around that is, I try to stick to my fundamentals. Because once you have your fundamentals locked down, it becomes easy after that. All you have to do is just pretty much follow this template, and say, okay, I got it. And there it is, and you just kind of draw it.
So when you say fundamentals in that instance, what do you mean?
Meaning like primitives, and like you're drawing Superman, and if you think of him as primitives, or these, just imagine it like this is the shapes. You're basically redrawing these same shapes, but you're just changing the angle. So I'm like, okay, I'm just basically drawing these two shapes at this angle, and now I'm just going to fill it in as Superman. And that's basically what I mean. That's my fundamentals.
And again, it's such a different thought process, because I'm like a scribble artist at this point, and I'm trying to think. I mean, you have to think in terms of shapes, but it's
Yeah.
it's a more painterly approach, I think.
Yeah. This is just kind of what I do. Um, I have like this way of how I think. It's a fail safe for me. You do it this way, and you're like, okay. Most likely you're going to knock it out of the park, and it's not going to look too weird.
Yeah, well, I definitely have my go-to head angle if I'm doing a commission for somebody at a show, and I try not to stick to it too much because it gets boring, obviously. But
Oh yeah.
When the pressure's on, yeah, the go-to angle comes out.
Oh yeah. So I know I'm going to go straight in wings, so I'm not going to do too detailed lines with my pencils. I'm going to wait on the inking strategy, the inking part for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and just rough out some shapes, and then I'll do all my detail later. Right now I'm just locking in certain features.
There's a question in chat if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin Mandeville asks, do either of you remember the first time you noticed each other's work? What book/piece?
Ooh. The first time I noticed, well, I knew I knew Dave was way back in the Wildstorm days. So
Yeah.
we're talking close to 30 years ago. So what was that first book? It's so long. I can't even think of it.
Well, I'll start because
Yeah, you go ahead, because I'm pretty sure I have something, but
well,
go ahead.
it's easier for me too because you were there before me, and older artists. I mean, I don't know I don't know if you're actually chronologically older than me, but artists that have been around longer. It's like it takes on an importance,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember I had seen a bunch of your stuff before, and I loved it. The one that really, like, I was like, whoa, and I studied it for a long time. It was a Wildcats promo. It had a big shot of Grifter's face, and like all of the Wildcats. It was a really, really cool shot, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was not the style that you're drawing it now, because I mean we all change, But I just remember it had a really cool style. I just wasn't seeing anybody else do, and I thought it was great. I wish I could say it was this piece from this thing, but it was like a promo image. So
It was
I
a
think it was
promo.
using the cover too, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you've done. I mean, you know, pretty much, The Batman stuff for me, like what you've worked on, like not too recently, like a couple years ago. I think that stands out to me the most. Like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, man, this guy got some serious skills. Because there was a period of my life where I wasn't really looking at comic artists, and it's mainly because I came from I came from the fine arts world. I wasn't trained from birth to be a comic artist. I transitioned into being a comic book artist. So I basically came from the tea and crumpet type of museum
The
art
pinky
world.
raised.
Yeah, were you drinking teas with you and your pinkies, sticking out a little bit. I came from that world on South Beach. You know, just hanging out at museums, going to art galleries a lot. Salvador Dali was like my my number one go to guy for pretty much anything artistic. Um, until I saw Jim stuff, and that's when I was like, okay, I think I want to draw comics, and then I try and transition into that. But so because I came from that world, my brain it's always been thinking, and oh, I want to be a little bit more artsy with my approach. Um,
Well, in that period, Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and a few others, but uh, especially those ones really were pioneering. There were others before too.
oh yeah,
So I don't want to say that they, everything is completely brand new, but uh, a lot of the tiny, breaking panel borders, a lot of that kind of thing was really getting big at the time, and it
oh
was
yeah,
artistically so much more interesting.
yeah, yeah. There are so many things that happen.
There was Howard Chaykin, and there was Jim Steranko, and certainly there were other artists that push those boundaries. So yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm saying, oh, this has never been done, but
Yeah, yeah.
I think never been done with such mainstream appeal.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a question.
Go ahead.
Liam Jones Artist asks, do you recommend any online teaching courses like Foundation Art Schools? Obviously, Broco. What else?
Of course. Number one. Should I say?
Yeah. Already.
Comic Pro Bootcamp, baby. So we are getting ready to launch some new classes. So you actually learn directly from us. The classes we're launching, they're not prepackaged video classes. We actually give you like stuff to work on, so it becomes like an actual workshop. And you learn from a couple different people. You learn from me, you learn from Will Sportasio, you learn from Carlos Deanda, and you learn from Alex Sinclair. So all this, we put our heads together and we actually teach you guys a whole bunch of different things in comics, from layouts to pencils, inks.
From some of the best people in the business.
Yeah, and then from time to time we have guests, artists that come in, like Finch. Some people will come in, and we've had writers that came in as guest speakers. We've had editors from DC that came in as guest speakers. We've had a bunch of freelance writers, a bunch of other pencilers that came in and just talk. Even publishers, we've had publishers that come in and they talk about how do you get your package or your IPs in front of them. How do you get it pitched? How do you create an IP? All these things. So we kind of give you like a good sense of everything within the workshop.
And having editors come in, having all of them come in, really, you can learn so much.
Mhm.
But editors have the added benefit of having the power to hire, and so having them come in and hopefully see some of the work, it's potentially a good way to get noticed too.
Yeah, the editors that come in to come to the class and see your work. So
that is one of the toughest things, is just getting your work in front of the right people. And I talk to artists all the time that just it's a struggle, and I understand from an editor standpoint, it is a job being done by one person that really should be done by multiple. They are so overworked, but from a standpoint of trying to break in, it can be really, really frustrating.
Yeah. The editor's job. That I thought about it. I was like, maybe I should be an editor at some point. Maybe.
Yeah, that thought has never crossed my mind.
Give up penciling to be an editor.
Well, I know the pain, or at least, well, I kind of know the pain of waiting for other people's work.
Yeah.
And editors, that's the job, and they're responsible. Like when you, as an artist, so young artists, if you get that first chance, and you leave them in the lurch, and they have to go to that editorial meeting and explain why you haven't turned in pages and their book's going to be late, they don't like that.
Oh yeah. Ooh. So have you ever been late on a project before?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Do you want to talk about it?
Do I want to? Well, oh, geez, I've been late on everything. This is the problem. Now, I can turn it up. So,
Okay.
I was on Avengers years ago, and I was actually in Australia the first time I ever went there, and I thought that I was out of reach, kind of. I don't know what I was thinking. And Tom Brevoort was my editor at the time. He's still at Marvel. He's a group editor there. He's great, and he tracked down what hotel I was at, and I got a call from in Australia. Now, this is kind of before cell phones were everywhere. I couldn't believe it, and so I was in Australia finishing pages fast as I could.
Wow!
So I didn't get fired.
Oh man, you sure he wasn't a private investigator in his past life or something?
Yeah, maybe. I worked with an inker on another book, and he didn't answer the phone or turn in pages or anything for weeks. And the deadline was finally approaching, and the editor actually lived relatively close. And so he got in the car and went and knocked on the door and got the pages back and gave them to someone else. That's how much pressure they are under to get those books done. And it's a tough job. And I mean, that's just tracking. I think that would be the part that would be the hardest for me, is just keeping people working, but
yelling at them, turn my page.
And you have to understand story, I think, more than I kind of do. I know when I like a story, and I can watch a movie and I can say that was a bad decision, but it's really different than actually, being able to read a script and having any idea.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it is. Editors are the gatekeepers. If you have ever wondered about it, like how do you get your stuff published, that they're the gatekeepers.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, they are, and they can be your best friend, and I don't want to say worst enemy, but if you make their life difficult enough, they don't forget that easily.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and there's only one time I actually had to quit a book. One time in my entire career. Before I tell you, sharpener. All right, so I was working on Teen Titans, and I physically could not finish the book. I think it was because I was extremely burnt, because my brain just could not function. I felt like if I picked up a pencil and start drawing, I would pass out. And that's the only reason I gave in. If it wasn't for that, I would have just kept on going. So I emailed my editor and was like, hey, I literally can't finish I'm not feeling okay. My body's giving out. I'm not getting enough sleep. And then when I do sleep, I get up and I'm working again, and it's just you kind of I felt like my body was about to give out. I honestly did. So I messaged him and I told him about it. He wasn't happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
He was not happy, but I had to do it. It was for my health.
Well,
That's
and
all.
I'm sure he wasn't happy. I mean, obviously, but you put him in a much better position than when people just disappear, which happens all
Oh
the time. People
yeah. Oh,
just ghost them.
yeah. That's one thing I hate doing is missing deadlines. I can't stand it. When I miss a deadline, it bugs me to the end of days. And I don't miss your deadlines. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I've seen this before. The secret to a successful career, and I'm sure this is not just for comics.
Mhm.
Is to be easy to work with, on time, and good. If you have all three of those, you're Jim Lee.
Yeah.
But if
I
you
agree.
have two of those, you can have a long career.
Yeah. Yeah. So, have you ever thought about going digital?
I've done it before. Here,
Yeah.
sorry, hold on. Let me just. Half my tools are on the other side of the room.
Great question.
Okay.
Are you guys accepting any sort of commission?
Okay, I'm back. I went
Um,
digital years ago, and it
I'll answer that in a minute. But
it
go
didn't
ahead.
work well for me.
Hmm. What, like how? Like, what went wrong? What do you think went wrong?
Uh, you don't get the same feel from a screen that you can get from paper.
Mm.
And I had a really difficult. Now I know that these are kind of solvable problems. It's not like this is, um, but I didn't really know how to fix it really at the time.
Hmm.
Uh, I was zooming in like a panel like this. I would make the size of my screen, and I had this huge Cintiq,
Mm.
and so I was putting tons of detail into tiny little things, and then a double page spread. I would zoom in just about the same distance, which is not much at all. And so double page spreads would look really chunky and ugly. And I never really got comfortable. And then I started actually using a bunch of 3D models. Uh, and I kind of went that road a little bit. And then I finally pulled back and went, wait a minute, who am I as an artist? I mean, yeah, the 3D model looks great, but it's taken away a lot too. So I stopped everything at once and just went right back to pencil and the way that I was working before. It felt right away. I felt like I had to retrain a little bit
Mm.
just to kind of get comfortable again.
Yeah. So we have a quick question. Christian, you want to read it?
Yeah. Are you guys accepting commissions of any kind?
I no. I'm sure I will be at some point, but yeah, um, not for a while.
I'm always accepting commission. You just have to wait.
That's really what it comes down to. It's
How long are you willing to wait? Yeah.
I'm trying to work out because I've got some shows coming up later in the year, and I really don't want to be in a position of taking commissions and then 2 years later, people are wondering what happened. So in as much as I possibly can, we're going to we're trying to work out a strategy to take them so I can finish them at the show, and if they don't get it done at the show, then we just make sure that it's understood that I wasn't able to do it, which I hate not following through, but
Yeah.
don't know any other way to do it.
So I made my bazaar a little bit more bulky, which is cool.
It looks great.
It's just different.
Yeah, otherwise, he ends up just being kind of Superman with a reverse logo.
Yeah. So I kind of let me freak him out a little bit. Okay, I'm ready to go. Start.
Sheldon Martin asks, what's the tougher racket to break into for a living, fine arts or comics?
Ooh. Um, Finch, were you ever a fine artist?
No. So yeah, that one is I don't know, unfortunately.
All right, so I can answer that one. What do you say was which one's tougher?
Yeah.
Um, I would probably say being a fine artist because as a fine artist, you are looking at producing a solid piece every couple weeks or every couple months, depending on what type of art that you're doing. And there's no guarantee it's gonna sell. You could go the route of creating art and putting it up in the gallery, or maybe creating your own gallery, creating your own online forum, and just kind of raising your fans through social media and you know um, getting eyeballs on your art and start to create this following, and then next you're having people purchasing your piece. So you could turn your piece into prints. I've seen artists who will they'll do one piece and they'll make prints out of them, and they'll sell like 300 of them at $500 a piece.
Okay, I'm doing that.
So I've seen that before, so it can happen. And I know printers that actually work with artists that will take your art, print it, and they will print to order. So you can put up on something online and say, hey, this is available for order. If you like it, you can order this one piece from me, and you get this nice print for $300, $500, whatever it is, and then you'll get this one print mailed to you. So that can happen. Okay, we're talking about original art. That's you're kind of tapping into something that's a different world there too. So you have your original art. Where are people going to see it? In galleries. How many people go to galleries? A few, not many. So you're kind of limiting your audience. And at the same time, if you're going to put that original art online, then okay, now you have a greater chance of exposure. People seeing your stuff. So there are people I know that will do an art piece and sell it for $50,000. $10,000.
Now, are they doing this online or through a gallery?
Both. You'll
Because
sell.
if you can do that online, that's all your money. But if you do it through a gallery, they take like 50% or something, right?
Yeah, galleries will take a cut.
I've heard that. So you have a big opening.
Yeah.
I've never done this, obviously, but you have a big opening, and there are a lot of expenses involved.
Mhm.
And all those expenses, the wine, the whole thing gets billed to the artist as expenses before you get paid.
Oh yeah,
That's
that could definitely happen. So, unless you plan on selling it in the back of your trunk, yes, pop up your trunk and sell art back there. But it can happen. It can definitely happen.
Well, the ideal is I'm a really big fan lately of, I have been, from time to, I go back and forth with artists. Not that I shouldn't say back and forth. I get interested in artists and then I move on to other things and I find them again. Not that but Crayola, Craig Simpkins, you know who that is? He does these really interesting kind of, they're not abstract, but they're like animal paintings with these weird little creatures, all kind of thing. Anyway, stuff is beautiful. You can find him if you guys are curious. He's on YouTube. He's got a huge channel with like 2-hour videos sometimes of him painting. A lot of it sped up. These are huge pictures. Anyway, I don't know how he sells his stuff, but I have a feeling I think he's able to sell his stuff online, So I'm sure he does gallery shows here and there, but yeah, that's the life if you can do it.
Yeah. So I lived the life of a starving artist when I was in college. So I would do a piece of art. I would sell it. I'd make enough money to last for 3 months, 4 months. And while I'm sitting there for 3, 4 months, I'm still drawing and still doing stuff and making enough. And I'm preparing for, okay, when am I going to make some more money? When's my next job going to come in? And I did that route for years, not years, let's say maybe 2 years, somewhere around there, until I got that call, that said, hey, I want you to come draw comics. with me, and I was like, okay, done. So I dropped it in a heartbeat. So,
Yeah, and it can be so good. There have been times. Now, this isn't fine art because I've never been in anywhere near that kind of position doing that kind of stuff. But video games, for instance, you can do really well. You can, it's a 9 to 5 job. There's so many advantages, but you never develop a fan base, and you never. I think getting to the point where you're just calling your own shots and having really the kind of monetary success you can have with comics and having the kind of freedom you can have with comics. I don't know of any other field other than fine art, which is, yeah, it's a tough go.
yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess depending on your perspective, I've done both. So I was I used to work as a as a concept artist for a couple of video game companies. So I know what it's like to do
So that versus comics, what do you enjoy more?
that. Working for a company, you get benefits. Comic books, you don't get benefits. Well, it depends on you used to get them, but they things changed.
Yeah. Now I'm in Canada, so the medical benefits I didn't get when I was under contract with Marvel, but I know they offered them. And
Yes,
being in Canada, it is such a huge advantage for artists and anybody that's doing a creative job because we have free healthcare. And
yeah,
I complain about the government. And I shake my fist in the air, but man, we don't have it so bad.
yeah. You have nothing to complain about. I know a friend of mine right now who has cancer, and she can't get coverage. She has to raise $48,000 through GoFundMe to for her treatment, and stuff like that doesn't happen, in Canada.
Yeah.
In America, yes, it happens in America,
And I know
and
it's possible in Canada. There are definitely treatments you'll have to wait a while for, and that's
oh yeah,
that's socialized medicine. It's going to be that way. But something like cancer, serious things like that, um, you get the treatment you need. It's something I'm very very grateful for.
I'm moving to Canada.
Pretty good up here.
I'm gonna
I like
see.
the States too. You definitely need coverage.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely need it. Especially when you have kids and a family, and you got to take care of all that stuff. But with like I was saying, with the game company, um, you get certain benefits, certain perks. You get free games, of course. And a lot of merchandise and stuff like that you get for free. But it's just part of the whole thing, I guess.
How much would you really care about the free games though? Because you would see it every day. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, all right, I'm done. It'd feel like work.
Yeah, it feels like work now. Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
feel
I'm
like.
sure in other studios games, but the ones that you're seeing every day at work, that would be like, ooh,
Yeah,
away from
exactly.
this.
Hey, I get a free version of a game I built.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah. I get copies of comics that I've done. I mean, obviously you do too. And
Yeah.
uh, they end up going in a pile. It's, once I'm done, yeah, after a couple of years, it's kind of fun to go back and look at it and, hey, this is what I was doing. And it's nice. But at the
Yeah,
time, it can be tough to look at even.
yeah. I give mines away. I give them away to people. People want them. I just say, here you go. All my free copies. Some of them I keep, like some of the old grifter stuff that I did. I still have a ton of them in my garage. Oh man, you know what I have also? You remember Wildcats, the toys?
Yep.
I have all my Wildcats toys. Yeah, back in the Wildstorm days. I still have them.
I've got some old Cyberforce toys. It was um it was a deal that didn't go well. I don't know where I want to bring them out to show you, but I'll never find them. I'll end up looking for an hour, but
Uh,
they are not high quality. Yeah, they didn't turn out well.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they do.
I think Mark Mark Silvestri was really very very intent on maintaining control, and not just because you can cut a deal with a company and you get some pretty good stuff, I'm sure, but the things they ask for can be well, you can lose a lot of your own autonomy, and he wasn't willing to do that, and so that really worked out. And then there were times where it didn't, and that was definitely one of the not good times.
Yeah, yeah. Top cow.
What kind of red pencil are you using, Ryan?
So I just use this Prismacolor pencil here. Standard. It says coal erase on there. It's a carmine red, and I just use it. I like it because it's red. I don't like to use the blue lines because the blue lines I don't capture the same feeling when I use like the blue line pencils. So I prefer red ones. I like the eraser. The eraser is really cool. You can grind into the paper and get a nice erase from it. So it's pretty cool with that one. All right. Here we go. Any more questions?
What kind of sharpener are you using?
You want me to pull it out? It's a giant electrical sharpener right here. It's pretty huge. It's bulky and it's huge. That's why when I sharpen, you guys hear that grinding. It's kind of industrial-ish.
I've got one of those for my colored pencils.
Oh yeah.
But my pencil, it's one of these ones, the drafting pencil. So I end up having to use these. I don't know are you using a drafting pencil at all?
I used to use them back in the day. I'm talking back in the old Wildstorm days. I haven't used them in a long time. I switched a while back, and I just never looked back. And I just I think I want to go in this route.
Yeah, it's hard for me to switch because I press too hard. So these
Yeah.
are a little more forgiving for that.
The reason why I went this route is because the grip. It's comfortable. I like the way how the pencil feels when I'm drawing. When it touches the paper, I really dig it. This is just something. I think because it just feels like I'm painting with this. It's more raw versus on the technical side. It's very precise and has to be done this way. I kind of because I'm a loose artist. So I like to draw pretty loose. So it's kind of where it is for that one.
I've become more loose using pens, I think, a little bit. Like here, I've got all kinds of whiteout I'm going to have to do because I'm too lazy to pencil this properly. So the alternative is to just draw through and then erase, kind of erase with whiteout.
Yeah. So, Dave, have you been to Lake Como?
Not yet, but that's I don't know I don't think I'm going this year. But I'd like to go. And you've been, right? Have you been?
I've been there 3 times.
Oh well, so yeah. That's an endorsement right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool. What I like about it, it's an artist show.
Yeah.
So you don't show up with prints, don't show up with books. You want to show up with original art. That's where you want to show up. Now I've seen not the last time, but the time before that, Travis Charest was sitting next to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while he's sitting there, he had some art that he put on a table, and he's just prepping his table, doing his stuff. And some of them are, Travis. Travis does some amazing stuff, right?
Yeah, he's a genius. I mean,
yeah. So the show opened up, and I'm looking. Well, first I was looking at him. I'm like, wow, these pieces. This one's going for $2,000. This one's going for $3,000. like, wow, this one's only going for 1,000 over here. Oh, this one. So I'm looking at all of them. I'm looking at the prices. He sold out in less than 3 minutes of opening the show. It was gone. His table was
Wow.
empty. I was like, what the hell? This is insane. This is insane.
So what's he do for the rest of the weekend? It's like,
Well, he took on some commissions. He was
okay.
doodling and drawing, stuff like that. So yeah,
I haven't seen him at a show in it's been years. It's been a
yeah,
long time.
yeah. So he was there, which is
I,
great.
I remember he was doing head sketches for $30.
Oh yeah,
Long time ago, and I wanted to get one, and I didn't have $30.
yeah,
I was working for Top Cow, and this was like early days, and I didn't have a whole lot of money, and I had
yeah,
already spent everything I had.
yeah.
Couldn't do
Well,
it.
yeah, we did a cover together. It was what was that cover? You guys can Google it. Brian Benjamin, Travis Terrest cover. So we did a cover together, and I actually did it. I did the layout after. Oh my god, where am I blanking? Um, oh my god, somebody help me with the names. They're probably gonna type it in the in the thing. I know the artist. I just can't. I'm getting old, and my brain can't think of the artist right now. So I took the layout after him, and Travis. I did the pencils, and Travis went in and he inked it, and that cover. Someone was. I think I sold that cover for $900, which I shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, can you imagine now?
This was years ago. I sold that cover for $900, and man, I wish I had held on to that cover, man.
Well, the original art market has changed so
Yeah,
much,
yeah, it
and that's
is.
one thing with so many artists working digitally and doing beautiful stuff. It's a big
Yeah,
thing to give up. I mean, to be able to sell your work for a lot of money or a decent amount of money, that does not happen overnight. You need to develop a reputation. You need to be there for a little while,
hmm
develop a fan base. So I think for a lot of artists coming in, working digitally, you don't have the concerns about having original art that's worth a lot. But if one day you can get there, I just think it's a big sacrifice.
yeah,
But the thing is, publishers want digital artists. It makes their life much easier.
yeah. There's a market for it. I try to tell people to be as versatile as possible because you don't want to corner yourself,
Yep.
especially it's good because being an artist is one thing, and then being a comic artist is something else too. If you're only going to draw comics, you know, you know, there's a certain path you need to take and a certain way you need to choreograph your art to be noticed and for people to see it and get so you can get on certain projects. But then if you go the other route and you just being a general artist, the doors are wide more open for you. You can be a comic artist, you can be a concept artist, you can be a digital artist over here. So many different routes you can take this. So I try to tell people, the easiest route to go is just basically don't limit yourself and you know be available for whatever project is coming out there. So
Yeah, and really the most fundamental skills are completely transferable from comics to every other type of illustration.
hmm
Obviously, there's a lot of surface technique that goes into comics or storytelling that you might not use in some other field, but uh, anatomy, so many of those kinds of things are valuable all over the place.
yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah. Let me find one.
Let's see.
How long did it take for you to understand where to place shadows on a character? Did you use a lot of reference?
Well, for me, I struggled with it for quite a while. I struggled with that. I struggled with rendering a lot of those kinds of things. But I think that's common enough. Uh,
Mhm.
my shadowing, look, I don't know that I feel a little hesitant to say, hey, do it the way that I did it, because it's not the way you're supposed to do it. But
Hmm.
I learned from other artists. I really did. And like all of this is very heavily influenced for me from Alan Davis and Kevin Nolan, especially, are my two big influences for this kind of lighting with like a core shadow. Um, you'd have kind of one light source over here, one light source over here.
Mm.
That's very um, Kevin Nolan and Alan Davis.
Mm.
So yeah, I would be drawing, and I would have books of my favorite artists open. I still do it sometimes, but not as much. And I'd be picking out, hey, I like how they did this little bit here and that little bit there, and eventually it really becomes your own thing.
Mm.
But and I do personally, it took me a long time to develop this theory, and I've said it before, so it's nothing new. But I think that artists start to stagnate when they stop searching. So, all of that, looking at other artists and trying different techniques that they're doing, or looking at life, probably more ideally, I guess, but whatever it is that you do, you have to keep doing it. You can't look at it one day and say, you know what, I think I'm good. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't need to look at anything anymore.
Yeah,
That's when you see the decline.
exactly. So it's like exercising. If you stop picking up the weights, then your body's gonna start to say, okay,
Yeah.
I guess we're on vacation.
Erica grew up Arc has a question.
Is that
I think you know him, David.
Yeah, Eric, he's my co-host.
Yeah. Eric's in the chat. Brian, have you ever dabbled in traditional painting, acrylic, oil, etc.?
Oh yeah, all the time. I have a couple pieces here. I need to find them though. I have a couple painting commissions that I need to get done. Um, I have when I was working as a concept artist, I was supposed to design a giant team of characters, and there were there were a bunch of people on a bunch of animators and you know a couple concept artists, but a lot of animators and programmers are on the team, and it seemed like everyone was kind of all over the place. And I wanted to bring everyone together with art. So when they see the art pieces, it would put everyone on the same page, and then we realize, okay, we're building this game, and this is what we're doing. So I decided to do that. So I painted all the characters on canvas, and I have one of the originals here. See, the actual cover piece. It's sitting on my wall right here. I still have it, and I went large. I went super huge. I like to paint gigantic. If I could take the camera with me, I could show you guys some of the big stuff I have in my garage. I have these giant pieces of canvas just sitting in my garage that I'm getting ready to paint on. And the reason I paint today and I paint on like large pieces, it's just another way to get away from this, because I'm drawing, comics all the time, and your brain can get locked into a certain era or area, a certain direction, and I try to break away from that from time to time, just to get my brain to relax, think of something different, go in a different direction, and then I'll come back to drawing comics. So it's like vacation for me when I draw something different. It's like people take vacation to go sit on a beach. I take vacation to go paint.
Yeah, well, me too, but it always starts that way.
Mm.
And then there's always a point where I'm like, wow, this would just be so much easier to draw, and I'm driving myself crazy. And,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
challenge.
yeah. I think art. I breathe and I live, breathe, and eat this stuff. So everywhere I go, I have to. I take my arts with me. I take my drawing pad with me. I'm just constantly drawing wherever I'm going, places, kind of stuff. So
Um,
yeah.
Llamahead asks, I've always wondered, as someone who doesn't read a lot of comics, is the blacked out shadow style in comics done more for speed or for style? I know it's both, but thoughts on this?
The what again? The black dot shadow.
Yeah, the blacked out shadow in comics, is that done for style or speed?
Oh yeah, like so the way that I'm blocking my shadows, they're all completely dark. So basically, I've got either totally dark or totally light,
Yeah.
and that is honestly, it's a throwback to the way that the limitations of the printing process for years with comics. So it's not something that if you don't like and you want to do something differently, there's nothing stopping you now. They don't have the same kind of limitations they used to, but it's become the classic comic style.
Yeah, that's true. Because certain ways you would draw comics. You literally drew it in that way for the purposes of printing. That is
Yeah.
absolutely true. You know, so and then throughout the years, it just became a style. And we actually teach it. So whenever we're like talking about, oh, you have to draw it this way, or that way. It's basically, hey, this is what we've been learning for years. What we've been doing for years. So.
Yep. And the thing it really comes down to is you are not forced now to work in a way that people used to. You can do it any way you want. But audiences have expectations. Um, it's a market, and when you deviate from the norm, it can be a recipe for really standing out and massive success, more than you could have if you're doing the same kind of thing everybody else is, but
Mm-hmm.
also can make things much more difficult. So, it's choices.
Um, Vincent Houston asks, how do you get in contact with an editor if you don't live in the US? Do you get in contact with them, or is it the opposite?
My best suggestion, I would say, is because the reason I'm going to say this is because editors see tons of art all the time. There's always some new artist popping up here or there. You're showing work. Um, I remember back in the day, in the Wildstrom days, we had many artists that would just show up at the studio. And the reason they showed up because they're looking for that job. They wanted people to notice them. So this was before social media. So it wasn't, people weren't, oh, let me email you some work, Um, people would just show up and then they would bring their portfolios and they would want us to look at their stuff while we're sitting here working, drawing all these comics. Um, sometimes it worked, and then there was a time when people would mail in a whole bunch of artwork, and we would sit there, and Jim would have all of us like kind of look at everything, and then we would all look at this artist and look at that artist, look at this artist, and then we would just kind of grade him like, oh, I like this guy, I don't like that guy. So he would get like an idea from all of us as artists before he made a decision. Um, and that's literally how we found a couple. There were a couple people who ended up staying at the crack house eventually, you know. But yeah, but that's how we found a couple of them.
You have to explain the crack house.
Uh,
It wasn't literally.
the crack house. So the crack house is basically an apartment that uh, Wildstorm Studios rented out to new artists. So when they came in, they had a place to stay. That's basically what it is. But the reason it's called a crack house is because there was no furniture in there. You had to pretty much bring your own stuff. So when you showed up, if someone moved out and you showed up with your luggage, you're just in a room, an empty room by yourself. You have to sleep on the floor, and then at time
Yep.
you have to go get your own. So it looks like a crack house. That's why we kind of call it a crack house.
Kind of did. And actually, my first place when I first got in, you had just moved out, and I took your place in the bedroom. I was
Yeah,
there with Drew Prasada. You remember Drew Prasada?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he
yeah,
was my roommate.
yeah. I remember. When I was in there, it was me and Sal Regla. We were roommates at the time.
Yeah, you were both out of there by the time I went, and just like recently, I think it was just weeks.
Yeah.
Joe Benitez was still there. He lived in the living room. He had a futon there. Just boom, you walk in the door and there's Joe's futon.
I remember. Yeah, Joe was in there with us too. I remember. Benitez.
Yeah, well, he's around a little longer than me, so he's there for you guys. I just missed that.
Oh yeah. I remember when Adam Hughes was there for a little bit too. But this was a while back. This was after. I think this was after the Crack House. It was still during the Crack House time, but it was after the first studio that we had, and then everyone kind of broke off. With Top Cow went one way, and Wildstorm went one way. When we broke off and we had the Wildstorm Studios in La Jolla, Adam Hughes was there. And then there were a whole bunch of other artists that kind of showed up too, which was pretty cool.
I heard Michael Golden went by there at one point. Stories about that, and I definitely heard, because we had already gone to LA, Top Cow, so we missed Michael Golden and Adam Hughes, which is kind of a bummer. But Adam Hughes was working on I want to say Disposable Heroes. That's not right, is it? But it was a Gen 13 book.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in the same office with Campbell, so yeah, it made sense. Yeah. He was working on that. So,
and that book was beautiful, and it came out, which for Adam Hughes fans, that can be a tough one. He does incredible work, but it's also very, very slow. So there's not much of it out there.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed too. It's like you have to find that balance between quality and speed.
Yeah,
because that's the thing with comics. You don't want to miss your deadlines.
Yeah, and editors talk, so the last thing you want is a reputation.
Yeah. Yeah, that artist, don't work with him because he's this.
Well, I remember coming on to a book at Marvel. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to. But I came onto a book at Marvel, and the artist that had been working not just before me, but not long ago, they were so upset with him. He had a nickname and everything, and I remember hearing it and thinking, "Wow, I don't want to be there." I want to go out.
There's been a couple artists and writers and inkers that have burnt their bridges. So, and I personally know them too. So,
yeah,
I've seen them. I've seen it. Burnt the bridge.
And is there a way back for that? From that, I guess there can be, but it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I have a question from chat. Guavocado asks, how do you develop / improve your sense of composing interesting poses when doing together pieces like these? I always struggle to think up a pose that looks dynamic and not stiff or boring.
Go ahead, David. I know what to say, but go ahead.
Okay, so what it really comes down to is having a library in your head of poses that can work. Like this pose right here, yeah, I just made it up right now, but it's not completely from nothing. I've drawn like an arm in that position. I've done that a lot. A body in that position. I've done it a lot. And the way to really develop that kind of a visual library for yourself is to look at other artists. I still have this book on my desk from weeks ago. This was my book of the week this was a little while ago. And the way that I learned and the way that I've seen a lot of artists learn, I think everybody has to do this. It's the only way to really get good at this kind of thing, unless you're, again, a purist and you're drawn from life, is to take like this figure here and just do a simple, not a stick figure, but like basically a very, very simple drawing of it. You don't have to draw the face, a gesture drawing, essentially. And what you want to do is whatever artist it is that you pick, and I really recommend somebody really dynamic like Joe Madureira, I think is a phenomenal choice, and just spend a good portion of your drawing time every day just doing simple sketches of other artists' work, and that will start to build your own library of poses. And you can see artists that really that don't have enough of a basis in that, and you end up seeing the same kinds of poses all the time. I draw that hand all the time, so much that you could probably accuse me of being a little bit limited. But we all have our limitations, and the more that you do that kind of sketching, the less limitations you'll have. The more when you're presented with a challenge, like for me, this one, I'm like, I have to draw Spider-Man, and he needs to be facing that way because he's fighting Bizarro. I'm not just looking at a blank page. I can kind of project a lot of my own experience onto it.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I second everything David said. Which you do need that library of poses that you have. But to me, I try to think of how do I've drawn this pose a million times, so it's like, okay, just redraw it. But I try to think of, okay, how do you draw it? How do you figure it out? Like when there's a blank sheet of paper and you're like, okay, what am I going to draw? To me, it's staying loose. So when I um, when I pick up my red pencil and I'm doing my layouts, I'm thinking, I'm trying to lay out something, what I'm going to draw. So I'm trying to capture the energy and the feeling of the entire piece. But I'm going to start with the core of the human body, and then and all these extra pieces you're seeing, from his hands to the cape to the legs, they're just you know parts of this energy motion that I'm trying to capture. So, like, I had no idea that I was going to draw his cape going up this way. I just knew, oh, as I'm drawing, and here's his body's in this area, I'm going to have this giant open area over here, and I need to fill it. Okay, I'm going to fill it with his cape. So I just kind of scribble a shape, and so it's kind of like I'm piecing things. So here, as I'm drawing this out, right, I'm thinking, okay, I know his head is going to be here, his chest is going to be here, his pelvis is going to be here, and I kind of get a sense of that. Then I tell myself, okay, now I captured this S motion here with his cape. So now I'm thinking, okay, so how am I going to carry some of this energy on? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring his arms up and kind of curve it back this way. So now I'm capturing this motion. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to capture the motion with the legs, but still make it cool? So I started to go in this direction where I was going to bring both legs out this way. Then I realized, okay, I'm going to lose some of this energy by cutting it off here, and I'm going to have this giant open space over here. So I'm like, let me pull it back. So I decided I'm going to pull this leg back this way, and then I was going to bend his knees, like going in this direction, but I was like, no, let me bend it back this way because it just feels a little bit more natural. I'm not going to force it into something good. So all these things are going in my head as I'm laying it out with the red pencil. I haven't even touched with the pencil yet, with the normal pencil. So I'm just thinking. What am I going to do? And I'm just trying to capture the energy. And once I capture the energy, I'm like, I get it. Okay, now it's there. All I have to do is pick up the pencil and just fill in the blanks, and that's it.
I love that answer. I feel like I want to revise my answer a little bit. I don't actually. I'm just going to go with that one. But yeah, I always say the same thing, which I do mean. You have to get that visual library, and you can't just be looking. You have to be drawing from those sources, and that's how you really pick it up. But yeah, I really didn't talk about my actual figure and the things that I was thinking while I was drawing it. And yeah, I thought that was a great. I thought it was a great answer.
Thank you, David. I'll send you a check in the mail.
Sure.
Atomic Art asks, "Hi, Dave and Ryan. My question is, how do you feel about working on your first 20 to 30 page published book? Because that's what I'm doing right now."
Ooh. How do you feel? Your first?
Yeah, the first.
Are you? I would like to see your pencils, but I don't want to see your pencils at the same time.
He's very good. I've seen a lot of his stuff. Actually, he just posted a picture of Spider-Man on Instagram. I thought, by the way, Tomek, I thought it looked really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just go for it. don't think too much. Just, I mean, try if okay. So you're drawing this book your first time. 20, how many pages? 20 something.
20 and 30.
20 to 30 pages in a book. That's 30 is a lot. 20 is okay. 22, 24 is okay, somewhere in that range. 30 is like, it's not too much, but it's a good amount. Um, Pace yourself. Pick out certain pages that you want to stand out, that you want to make it pop in the comic as you're drawing. It's kind of like a dance. So you don't want to flat line throughout the entire comic. You want the comic to have its peaks and valleys as you're drawing. So you want it so when you're looking at it, it's like ooh ah every single page. You're like ooh ah. That's what you're thinking. So I would shoot in that direction, and just not don't get hung up on certain things, because you can hold yourself back a lot. If you're drawing and you're so concerned about something, next thing you know, you're working on a panel for 17 hours when it you should have been done with that panel, 15 hours ago. So don't kill yourself. Just pace yourself. Make sure you're telling a story first. Tell a story first, then make it a badass page that's going to sell later on. That's your number one goal. I remember Jim telling me that years ago. You want to create a page that can sell. You're just going to create a normal page that just tells a story, but it's not that appealing, and it's just a bunch of talking heads, and it's just this and that. Then it's going to be harder to sell that page, or you can be harder to grab an audience. So you want to be able to make
Yeah,
that page pop.
those things so go hand in hand too. Like the kind of page that sells is also the kind of page that's going to, like you said, grab an audience. And for readers, that's the kind of pages they're going to remember. That's why they sell. So yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And no matter what you do, you're going to hate it in 2 years.
That's true.
So
You're gonna look like,
relax.
yeah, I hate this, especially
Everybody
for your
always hates
first
their
one.
first work.
What was that?
Everybody always hates their first work.
Yeah, the first work, exactly.
But when you do it, you still have to obviously do
Oh,
the best work you can. But yeah, you'll hate it.
I know. I look back to some of the union stuff I did back in the day. I'm like, what was I thinking, dude? Oh god. Oh man. Speaking of that, you want to take a short break and go down uh, a time warp with me? All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a snapshot of how I used to draw. This is before I came into comics. Oh my god, this is just bad, just bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna don't laugh too hard when you see this, okay, David? Just
All right.
don't have to.
I've got my own skeleton, so
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me see. I have a whole bunch of them, but I'm going to show you guys. I'll show you just one of the crappiest ones I could say. Okay. All right. I'll show this because I did a Lobo piece last week or the last time. So here we go. Okay, you guys don't laugh too hard. Okay. So this is me years ago. I'm talking 30 years ago, somewhere in that range when I did this. It's pretty bad.
I don't know. It looks pretty good.
No,
I'm
it's not. Look at his face. Look at the lumps on his face.
I want to say it's so much better than some of the stuff that I was doing wrong. But you know what? It's everybody's always more critical of their own work.
No, it's bad. It's bad. All right. If you think that one's good, let me see if I can find one that's even worse.
You have to admit though, if somebody came up and showed you that,
Uh,
you can see the talent there, right? Like,
yeah. You can see the talent. Yes, true. But for me, when I'm looking at my own stuff, I'm super critical. So I'm like, oh god, what was I thinking? All right. Let me see. Let me get one here. So this was. Oh yeah. Look at. Oh my god! I'll show this one because this was my airbrush. Okay, this was
It's nice.
it. No, it's bad. Don't even lie. So this was original when some of you guys will remember, some of you guys won't. Back in the day, some of you guys remember Phantom Guard. It's a book
Yep.
that Sean Ruffner and I did years ago. This was one of the original concepts for the leader. I don't remember his name. It's been so long since I've done this. But this was the leader for Phantom Guard. So this was when I was concepting this. I was sitting in college drawing like this. Like, ooh, this was when I was trying to learn how to draw comics. You know, and I was still doing some of my artsy fartsy type of things. You know, so I was airbrushing in the background. This is all airbrush. You know, so
Everyone disagrees with you, Ryan.
no, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad.
On chat, you know?
This is bad. This is horrible. Jesus Christ! How? So okay. So okay, I'll show you this one. Okay, so you guys remember this is Phantom Guard again. This is Machinon. Okay, this was one of the characters in Phantom Guard. Look how old school the rendering is. You know, nobody who this is how we used to render. I used to look at this. Dave, look at this. Right.
Oh yeah.
Look. Okay, look at this muscle how it's creeping this way, and its shadow is down here at the same time. It's just you don't do that. It's just
No.
don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. It's true.
Look at his chest. Oh my god, this is not something you do. Okay.
I still like it. I remember spending so much time trying to make rendering like that work. I could not do it.
Oh gosh. Okay, I think I've embarrassed myself long enough. This is enough. I'm not gonna do this. This is pretty bad. Okay. Whew, this is much better. Much better. I just took you guys down a time warp.
Yeah.
Phantom Guard.
It's hard to believe how much of a time warp that is now.
Yeah. When we were first concepting Phantom Guard, Phantom Guard came as a dream from Sean Ruffner. Sean Ruffner and I were in college together, and he lived downstairs from me in this apartment, and he came up to me, my apartment one day. He's like, "Hey, I have this had this dream. I just had to tell you about it." Like he took a nap, and this dream just came to him, and he dreamt of Surge and Machinon. And he came to tell me about it. And he was like, this, and this. And I was like, this is interesting because I have there's some characters I was designing over here myself. And he was looking at the characters. And then that's when we decided, hey, let's put them together and come up with a comic based on these thoughts that we had. And then that's when we decided, to call it Phantom Guard. And that's when we decided to, try to flush it out a little bit more. And then when we both started working for Wildstorm, that's when we pitched it to Jim, and Jim was like, "That's a great idea. Let's make a comic out of it." And then next thing you know, it's out. So, yeah,
That was Image in the old days. Come up with an idea, and hey, yeah, why not? Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Harder now.
Yeah,
It's
harder. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I went through the same thing with Ascension, which was my first creator-owned comic.
Yes,
I had nothing to draw, and so I just made something up.
Yeah,
and they were fine with it. I think basically is if it seems like it thematically fits in with the stuff they're publishing, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
There was no pitch process, not really.
Yeah, back in those days. I was like, what do you want to do? I want to do this. Okay, let's do it.
And nobody was thinking about the movie either.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think that's the main reason why comics, for me, from that era are so appealing. Mm-hmm. Is, they're just an honest comic. They're intended to be a comic. That's what they are. They're not a pitch for something else. And look, some of that stuff can be great, sure. But I miss when we were just doing stuff just because it seemed fun at the time.
Mm-hmm.
let's all go back to 30 years ago.
Oh. What's up?
Kevin Mandeville asks, who is the fastest artist who put out the most high quality pages in the shortest amount of time in either of your experiences?
Ooh, the fastest artist. Can we? Are we? Can we nominate ourselves?
They also said put in the most quality as
Okay.
well.
So. Fastest artist. I know Brett is pretty fast. Brett Booth.
Yeah.
He's a speed demon. You know, I think speed comes from comfort. You know, how comfortable are you with execution?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely know a few. I remember Mike Turner for a little bit there was really moving stuff along. And I mean, the people were loving his stuff. Like he was doing great with it. And he was doing, a whole book in 2 weeks, which, yeah, you do that once or twice. That's one thing. But to do that, week in, week out for a little while, I don't know how we did it. Mark Bagley used to draw 2 books a month.
Oh yeah. I did that before, and then I realized that's a mistake. I'm never going to do that again. I used to draw 5 books a month.
What?
Yeah, and that's when I decided. I realized, okay, I'm killing myself here. I'm not getting younger. My artwork is suffering for doing this, and I had to stop. Yeah, this was when I was drawing Ghost back in the day for Dark Horse. Um, I was working on Ghost. I was working on Vagabond, Ghost. I think I was drawing. Was I drawing Cable at that time, or was it after that? It could have been around that time or right after that. I was working on Gambit also. So I wasn't working on Cable. So I was working on Gambit. So I was working on Gambit, and I think I was working on. I did this book. I think I did it just because, but I was working on Turok. You remember Turok, the
Yeah,
video game?
Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Yeah. I was drawing a Turok comic years ago. Oh my god!
Kind of dated. I would have to say, is that late 90s? Is that early 2000s?
This was late '90s.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
because Turok, I'm sure they've done some stuff with it here and there, but
yeah,
the heyday for that with Valiant Comics it's a long time ago now. I remember Bark Tears did some pretty amazing stuff with Turok years and years ago.
yeah. I'm never doing that again though, because that's when I realized, okay, I'm just making my art suffer.
Yeah, and just I mean, from a mental health standpoint,
Yeah,
it's crazy. That's where it's tough because I mean we love doing this. I certainly do. I know you do, and but it is also a job, and you have to make business decisions too. It's tough to keep it all sorted.
oh yeah.
Um, there's a question. This question is kind of relevant. How do you find inspiration for those times when you're pushing yourself to learn new skills and the inner critic is being loud and abusive?
Um, how do you? What's the first part of the question again? How do you find?
How do you find inspiration when the inner
Okay,
critic is being loud and abusive?
okay. I don't think my brain goes there. That's because I. It's rare that I have like a brain fart or period of time where I'm not creative or things aren't coming to me. It's very rare. It has happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times my entire career, and I've been doing this for like maybe close to 30 years. So I'm probably not the best person to answer this one because I'm going to be like, hey, I don't have that issue. So I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Well, I've definitely had that happen. I think the number one way to kind of get past that and to find inspiration is just to know that work needs to be done, and your deadline is your number one priority.
Exactly.
So that sorts out a lot of those kinds of problems. That's tougher when you don't have a deadline, obviously. And there have been times that I've definitely suffered from that. I find it's kind of easier for me when I have somebody waiting, the page is due. It just kind of is what it is. And yeah, but I find for those times, generally speaking, just working through it. I've actually had times I did a cover a couple of months ago where I couldn't feel it at all. And I was really kind of struggling. And so I just spent forever on it. I drew like every leaf on the tree and I just went nuts with it. And I don't know if it was the best cover, but whatever, it worked. I felt like if I have no good approach for this, at least I'm going to put everything I have into it. That's kind of my thinking. And once I finished that, I was just ready to get something finished. So it broke me out of it.
What are your favorite books you've done? If you guys have had any, I guess, what books have you done, and what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Let's see. I would probably say, okay. I'd probably say the Batman Beyond run that I did. That one I was totally unprepared for it, and I knocked it out the park because that was the first book that I drew that was number one in the New York Times multiple times, and I had executives from DC calling me to congratulate me. So that's probably the first one. I wouldn't say it's the last, but it's the first one that made me say like, "Ooh, cool." Like, why me? It made me really stop and think that, like, why me? Out of all the people on the planet, out of all the artists that DC had available to them to draw this book, they called me and said, "Hey, we want you to draw Batman Beyond." And then I started to draw the comic. I was kind of scared a little bit at first, jumping into it. And then I started drawing, and then I started getting comfortable with it. And in fact, drawing that series made me think in multiple directions, like, basically why me? And then if I can do this once, I can do this twice. Kind of like that, kind of was thinking that. But that would say that was probably the first one that made me say like, wow, okay, cool. It just made me stop and think.
Yeah, for me, there are elements of a few different books that I really like, and then there are other things what I hate, and it's in the back of my mind. If I say, "Oh, I really like this," every single picture that I don't like from that book is right on my mind. But so like I guess with that kind of caveat, I would say Moon Knight. It's a long time ago now. The last run I did on Batman, I was proud of in a lot of ways. Ultimatum, which is I know a book that a lot of people hated, and I understand, but whatever. I loved working on it, and there are some things I'm pretty proud of with it. So there are a few, but yeah, every one of those books, there are things that I hate about them. So I'm getting pretty close to being done.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm just gonna add some sprinkles on this, and I'm gonna make this pop a little bit. You know what I used to do in the other streams that I've done? Um, there was a time I was drawing. I would do a couple pieces in the stream. Because it fly through them pretty fast. I was like, okay, let me just to knock out a couple of these.
How much study do you guys do on a regular daily basis now? Like studying other artists' work?
Studying?
Yeah, did you study other artists' work? How much do you study in general?
Not at all most of the time, which is terrible. And it's like totally contrary to the advice that I always give. And then I'll go for I'll go for a few months where I really try and do it every day. It's so difficult to maintain, everything in life. So I feel like I'd be lying if I said, "Oh, I do it every day." But I kind of go through phases. Right now, I'm really, really interested in painting. I'm putting so much of my, emotional kind of creative energy into that. I'm actually, unfortunately, kind of have to stop with that over the next. I've got a book that I've been working on. I've been talking about it for years, and it has not come out yet. Obviously, I'm almost finished with it, and we're getting to the kind of looking at how we're gonna market it and how it's actually going to start to be released. We're really getting close to that point now, and that's really going to be taking up really all my time for a while. And actually, I've been talking to Meredith about it. I we're gonna have to take a break from Monday Night Draw for just a little bit, unfortunately, just because I'm in a position right now where I need to just get this book finished.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a bit of a break, and then we'll be back. So yeah, I apologize for that. But, I just really need to take a little bit of time to focus and just get finished. I've been talking about the book for so long, and it's just it's finally kind of getting to the point where it's going to be a reality.
Yeah, you have to. You got to do what you got to do. You got to get the stuff done. So, yeah, that's kind of how I do it too. All right, here we go. Come back in with some white. Certain areas.
How do you know when a piece is about to be finished?
Well, for me, it's a mixture of when I kind of run out of stuff to do unless I add something or I start detailing more, and there comes a point where you just kind of feel like you're kind of finished, just mentally done too. This one, I don't actually feel mentally done. I keep going, but for me to keep going, I would have to actually start. Look, all of my detail is not as clean as I would do on a cover, but for me to start cleaning that up to that extent, there's a lot of time involved.
Yeah. For me, it's I just know. I try not to overwork something because I know if I keep at it, it's gonna get muddy and muddy, or there comes a time you have to, when you're drawing, like you're drawing a chest, you're drawing an arm, you just know, just lay down these basics and be done with it and move on. You don't want to sit on this arm forever.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of gauge your time as an artist, and You just kind of know, kind of feel it as you're going. Honestly,
Yeah, I find with sketches it's quite a bit easier than with like a sometimes with covers. It's so hard to know when to stop, and next thing you know, I've got just this pool of mess. Like there really is a tipping point where you just start destroying your detail just by muddying it.
yeah, that's true. Don't want to get too muddy.
And thank you, One Mighty R and Sheldon and Dennis Kelly and everybody and Lance for understanding. We'll be back, but yeah, it's kind of hit the point where it's going to be some crunch time.
Yeah, I have some projects I'm working on too. I'm trying to get done. Um, I am I'm going to have a booth at Comic Con. I need to get ready for that. This is like the first time I've had a booth just me. You know, so this is going to be great. I'm going to be sitting in that area where with Campbell and a couple of the people, a couple of the artists.
Yeah.
So it's going to be cool.
What's the name of that booth? They've had it for years.
Yeah.
I can't remember. In Comic Con, I know J. Scott Campbell, Arthur Adams, Bruce
Yeah.
Timm. Is that the same booth?
It's I no, I think they're across from him.
Okay.
They moved. I think Campbell has his own one now, and he actually has two. Like, he rents out two spots.
Okay.
So yeah, he's moved on from that.
Yeah, I did it for 2 years, and this is a while ago. This would have been 90 or 2007 or so with those guys, and then we missed San Diego and we lost our spot. So,
Oh. Hey man, you can come sit in my booth.
yeah, there you go. I mean, San Diego, that's a tough show if you don't have a place to sit.
Yeah, I know. Artist Alley just kind of it just lost it with me. It's too tiny, and it's just basically, I felt like I have a lot of stuff I need to do, and I can't do it. It shows like that. And I had a booth years ago with Sean Galloway, and then we ended up giving that up, and then we went to Artist Alley just so we can rethink.
I've never met Sean Galloway.
Never?
No, and I'm a huge fan. I love his stuff. I follow him I follow a lot of people on Instagram, but yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, Sean's cool. He's a cool dude. I'll introduce you to him.
All right, yeah, it'd be cool to meet him and talk to him for a bit.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, he's super nice. He's probably like one of the nicest guys. Sometimes I'm like, Sean, why are you so nice? He's just, I don't know, man. Just gotta do it. Oh, God. He's too nice, man.
I'm sketching in little clouds and stuff right now because I'm done.
Yeah, I know. I'm just adding the atmosphere right now, basically. I'm about to do my sprinkles, and then I'll be done with this one here. Bizarro.
I should have. You know what? You did the texture stuff in the background on my channel 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And I should have for this one planned it around that and had you like kind of lead me through. So I think it'd be tough for me to put that on here now.
Let me see. No, you can do it.
Yeah.
You have to smoke, give stuff like that. You can. What I do, right, is this. Like
okay,
a lot of.
Before you say anything, let me, because I don't have the proper rank. Let me just grab it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try it. got like 3 different places where I keep all my stuff. Okay, so I've got ink.
Okay.
What else do I need?
Oh, you have black ink?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I've got whiteout.
Oh, okay. Oh, the cap's on there. Okay. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, good. There's black ink.
And I've got paper towels.
Ah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Oh, brush.
So,
Brush. Hold on.
Brush. Are you trying to do the artsy type of approach that I do?
Yes, I'm getting a brush. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay. All right.
It's not the easiest thing because all my stuff is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. I was just painting upstairs earlier this week, so all my brushes are okay. I think I'm ready.
Okay, so where I learned a lot of my techniques, it truly stems from my childhood or my youth, I should say, back in when I was a teen, where I did a lot of paintings. I used to watch Bob Ross all the time and try to mimic what he's doing. So from watching Bob Ross and just looking at how he painted his happy trees, I tried to capture a lot of that energy,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff I remembered from that, and I try to do it with just black and white. So I'm taking that energy and I'm using some of my comic book strategies and techniques that I've learned throughout the years. And so my son is here. He's a little 3-year-old that does not care, and he's just
He's 3. Come on.
he's 3, does not care, and he's just going for it. Okay. You stay away from this because I don't want you to spill any ink on this one. I'm hungry. You're hungry? Okay, my son said he's hungry. So what I do is I take my strategy is, okay, here, this is another thing too. So I kind of have this artsy way of how I approach it. Okay, like when you see like a lot of these strokes and stuff here.
Yeah.
It's basically finger paint. Okay.
Okay.
And then when I started doing live art demonstrations with Kim Jung-gi back in the day, rest his soul. He I started looking at a lot of this stuff, and that's when I was really studying. Like, I'm like, wow, he has a really good way how he inks a lot of his stuff. Hmm? Okay, all right. You guys hear this, right? I'm gonna explain this really quick. So if you guys look at the stuff he does, like him, what he'll do, he'll basically throw down some inks like this, and then he'll smudge it like that.
Yeah.
And so I tried using a lot of those techniques. I already knew it, but when I saw him doing it, I'm like, this is it. I'm really going to implement some of this into a lot of the stuff what I'm doing. So that's basically a lot of the strategy. Now, behind thinking of that is I'm really just trying to fill space. So if you just look at this guy here, whoever it is, it doesn't matter who it is, and then you look at all the negative space around here. So I'm like, okay, I have all this open space. I need to find a way to make it to finish off this dance. The dance starts with the cape, the position of the arms, the position of the body, the head angles, all the rendering that goes on through. That's the dance. And now how do I finish it off? And I need to fill in some of this negative space. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just filling in negative space, but I'm trying to do it fancy with some finger painting, some inks, which go blacks and whites. And that's it. So take that and run with it and just, apply it to, whatever you're working on.
Okay, I'm doing it. Here we go. This is a total, I don't know what I'm doing. See, I should do this more.
Okay, so the thing about it, when you say like I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I embrace that. I don't fight it. So what I do is what I call it like a happy like a glorious or a glorious chaos. That's basically what I call it. Okay, so I try not to fight it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's so foreign to how I think normally. And it looks so easy when it's done well, but that's how these things go, right? So fine. I'm putting this down. I get kind of one swipe, and then it's set. I'm totally quiet here too. So yeah, apologies everybody. We've gone silent. I'm just this is how I always now I'm talking. I'm rambling because I feel like I'm being quiet. But yeah, when I'm trying something different, it's
Yeah, you're doing a
takes up
good
your
job.
head.
You're doing a good job. You see, so when I'm using it to frame a lot of him,
Yeah.
like his hands. I use the black just to frame. Like this cape would have looked boring if I just left it. So
I know. Yeah, look at how great that looks. The texture of your paper actually is really helping out too. I'm using such a smooth paper,
yeah,
but I think I'm just going to go dark here. It's a little distracting.
and then when you're done, you can go back on top of it with white.
Okay, let's do
That's
that.
something I use all the time.
Okay, I'm looking at how you're doing it here. I think it's going to take a little bit more. I just need to do this because I can feel it when you're doing it. It's
Yeah,
this is not the kind of thing you can learn by going, hey, maybe if I tried that, it would do this. You just have to go for it, I think.
yeah. So a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll get some white on this. I'm like my credit card.
Yeah.
Just get some white on here, and I'll just kind of flick it, and just what happens happens. I don't fight it. You just let it happen. What happens happens. So this is all part of my finger painting process. Okay, and then sometimes I'll take the same card and I'll just go back over it like this, and just just let it. Don't fight it. Just let it go. Let it do its thing. It really depends on the piece and what happens. So I kind of jump back and forth. Yeah.
Well,
Dude, that's it. That's it.
Look, I don't think I pulled it off like you did, but I still love it. I'm really happy with it.
Dude, I'm those lines behind his arm. That's what I'm talking about. You got it. That's it. I could feel it already. It's an energy thing. You just have to feel the energy and just go with it. That's what I do.
That is so awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad that I mentioned that at the end, and because it's something I was looking forward to and I totally forgot. So yeah, that's awesome.
Oh man, this is amazing.
I want to do a little bit of splatter too. Unfortunately, I don't have a credit card here or white that I could. But
yeah. Well, sometimes the ink gets pretty thick, so I have to water it down.
Yeah,
kind of run with that. So.
I've got that kind of white out, but not. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a try. in just a bit. I'm not going to do it right now because otherwise we'd be here for who knows how long while I try and find everything. But I'm definitely going to try that too. But yeah, it brings so much more to it. I'm so happy. It's awesome. Thank you.
All right. So you guys hear that? That's my son. He wants me. He wants daddy. So I might have to. I think I have to cut the stream short tonight. So how are you feeling?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thrilled. It's just great to try something new. Like I've seen you do this kind of thing, and it's a scary thing to just jump in there and do. And yeah, so I'm glad. All in all, yeah, it was fun. I think it was 2 fun characters to do too.
Yep. So yeah. So dude, I truly enjoy this, man. This is one of the highlights of my life. Is just sit here and draw. I wish we could all be in the same room together.
Oh yeah, I miss those days.
Just draw together. But
Yep.
before, let me see if I have it. Oh, I don't have it. I was trying to see if I could should give you guys a sneak peek of one of this piece this piece that I'm working on, but I don't have quick access to it. It's somewhere in my messy office. I need to find it. But anyway, I will. I guess this is going to be it for now because I have my son calling.
Yeah, daddy.
He wants his daddy, so I gotta go.
All right.
So,
Well, thank you very much for having me on. This has been great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, well, no problem, guys. Well, yeah, well, guys, thank you guys for showing up, for watching us, do the stream. I really enjoyed joining tonight with David. We should do this again sometimes in the future.
Absolutely.
And this, this is, this, I guess we'll keep something going. I don't know, make a theme out of this or something. I'm not sure.
Well, there were some really great ideas that we didn't actually do this time that I think would have been just as fun. So
Yeah. But thank you guys for coming in. My son is like he really wants my attention, so I have to go. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next stream.
good night, everybody.